So today I'm going to do a playthrough of a solo variant for Techlandia that I've been working on, and it's called Gang of Four. And with this particular variant, you get to play with four of your bloggers. You play one as a main character, and the other ones run around as NPCs. As you can see, this is pretty much the normal setup for a standard game of Techlandia. I've already dealt out 4 random rooms and my cards and set up everything else. The Doomsday Clock starts at 20. The other changes that I do is that I draw 3 cards. So I start with 3 gear cards, and if I get 3 objectivity tokens, it's game over. Otherwise, pretty much the game is exactly the same, apart from I add a NPC activation phase. Because I've got 3 NPCs, I've got 3 dice that kind of match the colours of their clothing. And so the advantage of that is when I do NPC activation, I can just roll my 3 dice and see how we go. So as normal, you have 2 actions, and I am going to move. It's always a bit dangerous going for a red room straight away, but first I think I'll look at my cards. So this one's ignore a investigation card, draw a new one, which could be handy. Mobilise your fan base, defeating an enemy, which could be handy. Automatically win 1 battle, even better. Okay, I'm just worried now, so I'm going to go straight into the server room. First action. Second action, I'm going to do my investigation. And I get a failure. Draw 1 encounter card. And if it's a red room, discard 1 gear card. Excellent. So I will do my encounter first. Encounter. Move back to the welcome centre to double check. So that was unhelpful, and I have to throw out one of my gear cards because it was a red room. I've got 2 defeat enemies, so I think I will pretty much for muchness. I'll just throw out one of those. 2 gears, end of my turn, and then this is where the Gang of 4 activation phase kicks in. And I roll my dice. So, red character, when I get a 5, I move towards the welcome centre, so she doesn't move. 1, I move to room 1, well, move towards room 1, and with a 2, for my yellow character, he will move towards room 2. Because there's equal distance, he will go with the room with most people on his way to room 2. And that is normal end of round. Oops, what I forgot to do though, because I was at 20, I should have read the 20 card. Fortunately, I know that was just the starter card, so that's all good. End of round, Doomsday Clock moves down 1. I get 2 more actions. I'm not going to go into that room, I'm going to try the conference room this time. And then, second action, I will investigate. Failure. Draw 1 encounter card. We have 2 spaces right now to find an empty broom closet. Okay, I'll run to the press room because that'll be handy. And then, if you're in a red room, also spawn 1 enemy. I wonder if they go at the same time. It does change. Well, I'm going to do them in order that I drew them. Okay, so that's the end of my turn. I will then do the NPC activation. White shirt goes to room 1, which he is already in. Yellow goes to the welcome room and NPC. So the NPCs kind of just run around. It becomes important because if they end their turn on a square that happens to have a QR code, they will gobble that up, and you'll have to go back and reinvestigate. So they do run interference somewhat. End of the round, doomsday clock, 18. So on the press room, once per turn you can draw a gear card, and I'm going to do that because I can take an extra action during your turn. I'll play that straight away because that'll allow me to move to the Selfie Sanctuary for one move, and I have my extra move, so I'm going to investigate. Success! Spawn one QR code and one enemy via the location deck. So the QR code is going to go into the gift shop, which is lucky, and one enemy is going to go into the server room, which is also quite lucky. So now we do NPC activation. So if there had been an NPC in the gift shop, that would have been gone. I should put a marker that I've investigated room 2. So that's handy. Now, since there are 2 or more in the same room as an enemy, they defeat him and he's gone. So even though the NPCs are a bit annoying for potentially stealing your QR codes, if there's 2 in a room or more, they're really handy if an enemy turns up. So that's the kind of balance. Those 2 did things, this one didn't do anything, so we get to the end of the NPC phase. And a 6, and a 6 means they stay where they are. So, end of that turn, I then move down to 17. Now I've got 2 actions. That's a pretty easy one. I want to get that code. Into my round. NPCs aren't doing anything particularly interesting, so they all get to move. And 3, so the yellow one goes towards 3, which is 1. I was checking the diagram. 1, 2, 3, so he's going to go that way. That makes sense, room 4, so these 2 are going to head off towards room 4, which is still good, and we move doomsday clock to 16. First action, I'm going to score the QR code. That's 1 down, 4 to go. I'm in room 3, so for my last action I will investigate. And success, draw 1, spawn 1 QR code, and then discard 1 gear card. Well, that's what it is. The QR code will go into security, which is fortunate, and I will have to discard a win my battle. Battles are handy. I'm going to discard the investigation card. Gear cards are really handy, so I might have to go back and get one later on. And that, I do believe, is the end of my turn. So, what have my NPCs been up to, my fellow bloggers? The white one is going towards room 2. The yellow one is staying where it is. And the red one is going towards room 3. And that, well, if they all stay there, next turn, that'll be handy. But who knows, anything could happen. Then we go to 15. The clock is at 15, and we turn it over. Each player draws 1 encounter card. Okay, draw an encounter card. Suffer 1 reality's distortion hit to your objectivity, which isn't great, because if I hit all 3, that's the end for me. Okie, so I've got 2 turns. Oh, it's easy. 1, 2, QR code. So that was, I forgot to add that, so I actually investigated room 3, and now I've picked up my second QR code. And then that's my 2 actions. Now these 2 will kill him off, which is handy. And my friend with the white shirt will head off to room 4. 2, 3, 4, so that's this way. How many do I need to do for a chat? 2, so that's no good. Okay, we now move to 14. But we're ticking along nicely. I'm now going to meet up with my fellow bloggers. And I added a new action called chat for this variant. If I'm in a room with 2 or more my fellow bloggers, we have a bit of a chat and get some objectivity back. So I'm going to use my second action to do that, to remove that, because I'm a bit worried that that's going to cause me problems later. So that's my 2 actions. Now we go to NPCs. Red one goes to 4, which is where we are. Yellow one stays where he is, and 1 heads off to, white shirt heads off to 1. End of turn 14. I'm in the conference room. It's actually very good that everyone else is in the conference room as well, because I'm going to investigate. And failure. Draw 1 encounter card. If it's a red room, draw 2 encounter cards. I'll do this one at a time. Move to any adjacent room, which isn't too much of a problem. Encounter number 2. Move 1 space in any direction. So not all encounter cards are bad. And I'm going to go to the server room. End around. NPCs. White shirt stays in 1. Yellow one wants to go to 2. And red stays in 4. It's not great having them spaced around because it makes them easier to steal codes when I do find one. Hopefully that won't happen. 12, turn 12. I haven't done room 1 yet, so I'm going to investigate. Success. Spawn 1 QR code, roll 1 die if the result is greater than the number of gear cards in your hand. Spawn 1 enemy. We'll spawn the QR code first, welcome, which is, again, getting very lucky with those spawning. Roll 1 die. 5 is greater than 1. So we're going to spawn an enemy in the conference room. That's the end of that. NPCs are going to move because they're not doing anything else exciting. The red one's going to head off to room 2. The yellow one's moving off to head 2. And the white one stays in room 1. Which I'm happy with. I forgot to do that again. I actually investigated room 1. I always forget to do that, but it's alright as long as you pick it up at some point. That's 11. And halfway through. So I've got 2 turn actions, 1 action, 2 actions. 3 QR codes. But I don't have any decipher codes, which is a bit of a worry. I think I'm going to have to go and kill that guy, because then I can get a decipher code, which makes my life a bit easier at the end. Into my actions, NPCs. Red one's heading to room 2. The white one is heading to the welcome room. And the yellow one is heading nowhere, staying where he is. That's all fine. Now automatically win one battle, so maybe I'll do that. I'll go into the conference room and I will engage with the enemy. So I draw an enemy card. He's got a 5, which is hard to kill. His skill is spyware. My skill is spyware. So I get a +1. Or I can play my card. I'm going to play my card. 5's just too much of a risk. He's deaded. And I get a decrypted code, which basically is a get out of free if the first QR code I try is a failure. So when I go to security. And ideally you want 3 of those, but we'll see how we go. Now it's time for NPCs. So the NPCs go in. The red one is heading off to room 1. The yellow one is heading to welcome room, and white one stays where he is. That's number 10. So we draw another Doomsday Clock. Each player draws 1 encounter card. And this one says, mind trick, blah blah blah, spawn an enemy at your location. Which isn't the end of the world, because I kind of want to kill more enemies so I can get more cards. So that was the end of turn 10, wasn't it? So that means it's 2 actions, and because I'm in the room with an enemy, I have to engage. Draw an enemy card, and this one has got a 4, but he's got memes, so that doesn't help me. Roll the dice, I need a 4 or more. There we go, I think it's 4 or more. I'm just going to check the combat because blah, blah, blah. Match will beat the enemy. There we go. So he's gone. I get another decrypt, which is pretty handy. And I've got 1 more action. I need to get the room 4. And that one is where I am, which is handy. So I'm going to do my investigation. Go. Failure. Draw an encounter card. If this is a red room, give 1 gear card to another player. I don't have any gear, so that's easy. Encounter card. Shuffle 1 reality distortion hit to your suffer 1 distortion hit. So this is why I got rid of that other one, because otherwise I'd be in a much worse position. So not great, but could be worse. End round. Let's see what my blog is running around with. So red stays on 1, yellow is heading off to 3, white stays where he is. It's not great that they're spread out, but it is what it is. End round, that's 9. Time is ticking. Okay, 2 actions. Gonna have to investigate this room. Failure. Draw an encounter card. If it's a red room, lose 1 action next turn. Well, that's not going to be helpful. So we will, what did it say? Encounter card. Encounter card. Draw 1 location card and move to that room to escape. Okay, not too bothered about that. Silvery Sanctuary. And I've got 1 more move, and I've got to get back to the conference room, so that's that. Just remember, I've got only 1 move, 1 action next turn. So I do my NPCs. Red stays on 1, yellow goes to 1, white stays where he is. 8. Time is ticking. Okay, so I think I've got 1 move this turn because of the penalty from that last card, so I will move to the red conference room. End of turn. Goes to 3, towards 3, white gets into 4, and yellow stays where he is. That's 7. 2 actions. I am going to investigate in the conference room. Success, hurrah. Also spawn an enemy, so, okay, so I get to spawn the QR code in the press room, which again, very lucky because there's no one in there, otherwise I'd be in trouble. However, I spawn an enemy in my room. I've gone through my location deck, so I'll give that a shuffle because I might need that later. Losing track, I think that was my first action. So my second action, I don't really have a choice. I have to attack the enemy, and he's got a 5 in spyware, so I need a 4 or better. Only counts if it's in the box. A 3. So that stays out because that stays with him. I get sent to the welcome centre, I lose an objectivity, 1 more, and it's game over. And that's the end of my turn. Fortunately, none of the NPCs will head off to that code because then I go to the press room. Yellow stays in the 1, red goes to 3, white stays in 4, that's turn 6. Oh, I'm going to go for the code because then I can try and win, otherwise I'm going to run out of time. So, 1, 2, easy. What are my critters doing? 6. Stay where you are, stay where you are. White is heading to 3. Oh, that's handy. And now we hit 5. We're going to run out of time. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Each player draws 1 encounter card, draw 1 location card, and spawn the executive monster. Okay. Well, we'll do the encounter card first, I guess. Roll 1 dice. If we succeed, bonus action, failure, lose 1 gear card. Roll 1 dice, what do I compare it to? I'll look that up because I don't remember what I compare it to when I roll 1 dice. I think it was even and odds actually. I'm going to go evens as success. I get odd, failure, lose 1 gear card, don't have any gear cards, so I don't care. And then we have to draw a location, press room. That's the executive monster. He's pretty much like a normal enemy, I'm pretty sure, apart from the fact that you can't use anything, any of your skills against him. So that is pretty, he's got a combat rating of 5. Also, if he wins, he deals objective damage and steals 1 description code from you. Which is, well, but I'm going to be dead anyway. Oh well, let's see what happens. So, 2 actions. He's in my room. I've got no choice. I have to combat him. He has a combat value of 5. So either I get a 5 or die. 5 or 6. 3. Because I have got 1 loss objectivity. I've become a fangirl, fanboy. I would have lost the description code. And I got to turn 5. And that was an unsuccessful attempt to get to the elevator in Gang of 4 variation solo for Techlandia, which I think is quite a lot of fun. Anyway, here we go.